On Global TV News Prime, federal government set to end abuse, illegal detention of juveniles. In business, World Bank approves $300 million loan for internally displaced persons, host communities. On the foreign scene, Australia calls recognition of Palestinian states moment of opportunity. In sports, 3SC assistant coach Olowokere dies after collapsing. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder, the Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Now the news in detail. The federal government has issued a directive to the Nigerian Correctional Service to submit a comprehensive status report on juvenile custodial centers across the country within 4 weeks. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, who chairs the Independent Investigative Panel on alleged corruption and other violations against the Nigerian Correctional Service, issued the directive during the panel's third public hearing held in Abuja. She cited deep concerns over illegal detention of minors, the mingling of juveniles with adult inmates, poor inmate welfare, and administrative failures across the correctional system. In a major boost to environmental restoration effort in Ogoniland, the federal government has commissioned 4 additional water projects. The projects are in Bodo, Owerri, Bo, Taba, and Eto communities across Gokana, Ghana, and Eleme local government areas of Rivers State. Minister of Environment Balarabe Abbas Lawal, who led the commissioning in Bodo, urged residents to take ownership of the facilities and protect them from vandalism. Anita Patrick brings us more.
The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, says the project reaffirms the government's commitment to the full implementation of the United Nations Environment Programme report on Ogoni to deliver clean water, justice, and development to communities long affected by environmental degradation.
We're looking at training, we're doing remediation and other aspects that relate to the communities involved. So as we celebrate this milestone, I, the resident of Bodo, will go over Taba and able to take ownership of these facilities, ensure proper use, safeguard them against vandalism, and collaborate with APLEP to maintain their functionality. So we must own this project.
The high point of the event was the inauguration of the Gokana area office by the Minister of Environment, which he said will strengthen community relations. He also directed cook stoves to reduce mangrove deforestation. Anita Patrick reporting for Global TV.
The federal government has forecast heavy rainfall over a 5-day period that may lead to flooding across 15 states in the north and 68 locations. The heavy rainfall warning issued by the National Flood Early Warning Systems Center of the Federal Ministry of Environment called on stakeholders and residents to take urgent precautionary measures, stating that the affected areas are expected to experience rainfall likely to cause flooding from August 10 to August 14. The warning comes as the National Emergency Management Agency said a total of 140,228 people in 21 states have been affected by floods so far in 2025. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, says it has released over 100 billion naira to selected tertiary institutions across Nigeria to expand training in medical sciences and address the shortage of healthcare professionals in the country. Chairman of the Trust Fund Governing Board, Aminu Masari, disclosed this in Katsina, noting that the intervention aligns with President Bola Tinubu's directive to reverse the brain drain in the health sector. Masari said 3 tertiary institutions in each geopolitical zone have each received 4 billion naira to execute projects and academic expansions targeted at boosting their capacity to admit and train more students in medical fields. The federal government has recorded a milestone in digital learning as the Universal Basic Education Commission, in partnership with Korea International Cooperation Agency, has rolled out the groundbreaking Smart Educative Initiative. This project introduced modern learning tools and teaching capacity building across public, primary and junior secondary school. The report. The closing ceremony of the Universal Basic Education Commission (UBEC) and Korea International Cooperation Agency (KYOCA) Smart Education Project was held at the Universal Basic Education Commission's Digital Center in Abuja, showcasing a 3-year initiative aimed at transforming basic education in Nigeria through technology and innovative teaching. In her remarks, Executive Secretary of Universal Basic Education Commission, Aisha Garba, celebrated the project's successes, which include development of Nigeria's first Smart Education Master Plan, establishment of 6 content development studios, creation of almost 4,000 digital science and math lessons, and the setup of 21 operational smart schools benefiting over 8,000 pupils.
We have taken advantage of introducing technology in our classrooms through what we call the Smart School model.
Industry leaders at the event included Tak Namgung, representing Korea's ambassador Kim Pyeokgyu via the public diplomacy section of Korean embassy.
Independent assessments show that students in those smart schools are performing better in mathematics and science. Nigeria's young people are brimming with potential, creativity, and resilience.
Global Television spoke with the principal of the Smart School in Abuja, who shared insight on the project's impact.
What we are doing now is digital, where you teach a child through a tablet, a computer. You give them assignment through Google Classroom. Even if they are at home, they can do their assignment, and you as a teacher, you're monitoring them. The admission is open to everybody.
The event underscored its far-reaching impact, reaching 3 million learners, distributing hundreds and thousands of learning materials, and removing long-standing bottlenecks to funding. It signaled the dawn of a new era for digital literacy in Nigeria's education system. In a major stride forward, Korea International Cooperation Agency (KYOCA) and Universal Basic Education (UBEC)'s partnership has laid the foundation for a broader rollout, with the ultimate goal of establishing one smart school in each of Nigeria's 774 local government areas. Priscilla Obasi, reporting for Global Television News. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund has announced that a total of 449,039 students have so far benefited from its student loan scheme since its portal launched on May 24, 2024. In its latest report released, says the scheme has disbursed a total of over 86 billion naira as of August 6, 2025, saying its disbursement includes over 47 billion naira paid directly to 218 institutions as tuition fees and over 39 billion naira given to students as upkeep allowances. It was a night of glamour, unity and celebration as political heavyweights and notable figures converged in Abuja to mark the 50th birthday of Ugomba Uche Nwosu, son-in-law to former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha. The Golden Jubilee drew Nigeria's most influential leader, cutting across party lines. Our correspondent, Kikelamo Okiri, was there for Global Television.
From the National Assembly to political arena, dignitaries arrived in style to honor Ugomba Uche Nwosu on his golden milestone. In attendance were Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, former Senator Dino Melaye, 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, and former President of the Senate, Ayim Pius Ayim. They all hailed Ugumba Uche Nwosu as a visionary leader, philanthropist, and a bridge builder whose impact spanned politics and society. Also gracing the occasion was his father-in-law, former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha, and his beloved wife, Oluma Uche Nwosu, alongside other top political and business figures from across the country.
Greatly honored to share this moment with our friend, our brother, and an upcoming leader, Chief Uche Nwosu at 50. It is my prayer that the Almighty will continue to sustain him.
He's a good in-law, a good man, a philanthropist, a peaceful man. And I'm just happy that the world is seeing what I saw many years ago.
Of joy. I mean, we are grateful to God Almighty, and we celebrate him. Uche is a wonderful person.
The evening featured heartfelt tribute, music, and a display of unity that transcends political affiliation.
Thank you, Lord. We thank you, Lord. We thank you, Jehovah Almighty.
Also started showing interest just in my first year of university. He's been my friend, and from being my friend he became a husband, and he's still my husband. And I tell you, Uche has a beautiful heart. I call him my love. He's a fantastic father, and I'm glad I chose to do life with you.
In his remark, the celebrant expressed deep gratitude to God, his family, and all well-wishers for making the day a memorable one.
I feel elected, happy. If I say I'm mesmerized, it's no understatement. If I say I'm flabbergasted, it's no overstatement. I am really bamboozled with what I'm seeing here today. I thank God for my life. I thank God for my friends and my colleagues and those who were able to put this up for me. I'm grateful to them. I'm happy with them. I will ever remain grateful to them.
This Golden Jubilee was a more than a birthday. It is a celebration of legacy, leadership, and lasting influence, surrounded by family, friends, and political icons. Ugumba Uche Nwosu's 50th was a testament to lives he has touched and the bridges he continues to build. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Tension is mounting once again in Yelwata community, Benue State, after another deadly attack in the early hours of Monday left 3 people dead. Our correspondent, Felicity Ndere, reports.
Eyewitnesses said the gunman struck just before dawn, barely 2 months after a previous assault that claimed hundreds of lives and displaced thousands. The renewed violence has left residents in fear and on edge. In response, women and other locals poured into the streets in protest, blocking major roads and bringing traffic to a standstill. In a show of anger and grief, they placed the bodies of the victims on the highway, vowing that no vehicle would pass until soldiers stationed in the area are withdrawn, accusing them of failing to protect the community. Military helicopters, armed soldiers and police have since moved in to restore order, but protesters insist they will not leave until the governor addresses them directly and urgent action is taken to stop the killings. On social media, Joseph Ju, head of media and publicity for the internally displaced person in the area, released the names of the victims as families mourn and search for those still missing. The people of Yelwata are now urging government and security agencies to break what they call a vicious cycle of bloodshed and insecurity before more lives are lost.
The military says it has neutralized more than 100 terrorists during coordinated airstrikes followed by ground assaults and clearances in Makakari forest of Bakuyum local government area of Zamfara state. The development occurred in the early hours when military aircraft and the relentless advance of ground troops signaled the beginning of an operation that would leave over 100 bandits dead, their motorcycles burnt, and their strongholds in ruins. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime. When News Prime returns, Australia calls recognition of Palestinian state moment of opportunity. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is News Prime on Global Television. Now we are in the business news, where the World Bank has approved $300 million in financing for Nigeria to strengthen resilience and expand access to essential services for internally displaced persons and their host communities in northern Nigeria. In a statement, World Bank Nigeria says the approval granted on August 7, 2025 will fund the solutions for the internally displaced and host community project, targeting selected local government areas most affected by conflict-driven displacement. The project is expected to benefit up to 7.4 million people, including about 1.3 million internally displaced persons, by adopting an integrated development strategy aligned with Nigeria's long-term development vision. The federal government has commenced the rollout of a national electronic fiscal system to modernize Nigeria's tax administration, curb evasion, and enhance transparency in revenue collection. In a statement, the special advisor on media to the Federal Inland Revenue Service chairman, Dari Adekambi, said in less than 2 weeks since the launch, at least 1,000 companies representing 20% of more than 5,000 eligible firms have adopted the system and begun integrating with the platform. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, said the system, which incorporates an electronic invoicing solutions known as the merchant buying model, went live on August 1, 2025 after a successful pilot phase that began in November 2024. As the economy tightens and bills pile up, more Nigerians are finding creative ways to make ends meet. Side hustle, once seen as optional, is now becoming a necessity, a second job that could make the difference between merely surviving and living comfortably. Kabir Hassan completes this report.
In today's Nigeria, one job is really enough to meet daily needs. More and more people are turning to side hustles, not for extra cash, but for a vital part of their survival. Today we are in the street of Abuja to hear what Nigerians can say about the importance of side hustle.
With the rising cost of living and limited job openings, side hustle has become more than just extra income. They are now survival strategy for many young Nigerians. From online businesses to creative trades, the youth are redefining work in face of economic hardship. Across selection of people interviewed on the benefit of side hustles, say such hustles provide financial stability, skill development, and independence. Some believe it's not just a choice but a necessity in the current economic climate.
Over 70% of Nigerians youth are unemployed. Is a concern.
Side hustle is very important because it helps standardize your finances. It gives you a financial edge over the economy.
Side hustle is important because as a Nigerian, if you don't have a side hustle, you'll be left at the side.
Experts recommend side hustle for youth, stressing the need for discipline, proper time management, and continuous skills improvement. They advise young people to start small, remain consistent, and avoid ventures that could compromise their main career.
Side hustle is very important. All I'm saying is side hustle is advisable.
Definitely, because you have to, in other countries you can do 2-3 jobs. You know, in Nigeria you can't just rely on one, so you have to do side hustle.
What do you mean by side hustling? If it is not something that is against the law, if it's a legitimate business that you know that it will be productive to your life, and besides that,
they have to find the techniques, creativity to help their self.
Still on the streets, many people advise youths to choose side hustles that match their skills and passions rather than chasing quick money. They also advise those hustling to ensure proper planning, financial discipline, and balancing the hustle with main job or educational qualification.
People are trying to make money in Nigeria, they are hustling. If there is government that help them to intervene for small scheme.
For all Nigerians, irrespective of your age difference, look for something aside your dream job to keep you.
The side hustle has moved from the background to the center stage of their financial lives, and with the rising showing no signs of slowing, it seems that extra job will remain a necessity for the foreseeable future. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
The Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry says the federal government reforms are transforming the livestock sector with the potential to raise its contribution to the country's gross domestic product to 5% by 2030. The Industry Director General, Gabaidu Jidani, said in a statement that the livestock sector could increase income by up to 40%, create about 20,000 jobs in the first 5 years, and generate foreign exchange through exports to high-demand markets in the Middle East and Europe. Now we go to the foreign scene, where Boko Haram terrorists have sown terror among those living around Lake Chad for some 15 years. Surrounded by Cameroon, Chad, Niger and Nigeria, the lake's countless islets serve as hideouts for the Islamist militants. Major General Ibrahim Salah Ali, the commander-in-chief of the multinational Joint Task Force, says the island isolates the terrorists from the outside, making it difficult for the military to reach them. Zara Nasir brings us more of this.
Surrounded by Cameroon, Chad, Niger and Nigeria, Lake Chad's countless small islands serve as hideouts for the Islamist militants, whose violent campaign began in Nigeria's northeast before spilling into its neighbors. Jihadist attacks have surged in the wider Sahel region, though Boko Haram has lost ground to the army in the Lake Chad area. Major General Godwin Mutkud, the first commander of the multinational Joint Task Force, says the aerial bombardment has not been effective in neutralizing terrorists around the Lake Chad.
The reason why the Boko Haram terrorists hibernate on the island, because it isolates them from the outside, thereby making it very difficult for the military to reach them. That's their thinking. And so there are times we do bomb them from the air, but it's not too effective.
Major General Mutkut, who highlighted the challenge posed by the size of the Lake Chad, also said vast amount of resources is needed to tackle the terror threat in the area.
And as I told you, 800 islands. It's quite huge, quite big. And so we need a lot of troops to engage in this kind of operations.
The United Nations says in Chad's Lak province alone, more than 250 people have been forced to flee their homes. Zahra Nasser reporting for Global TV News.
Pope Leo has invited the faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square to pray for peace and appeal for the release of hostages and an end to the increasingly desperate situation in Haiti. Speaking from the window of his study overlooking the square, The pontiff also welcomed peace deals between Armenia and Azerbaijan, signed by the country's leaders. And now go to sports, where the All Progressive Congress youth leader, Dayo Israel, has urged Nigerian youth to embrace sports, not just for recreation, but as a pathway to career success and a strategic tool in the fight against crime and unemployment. He made the remarks during a community event built around one of football's biggest showdown. Anita Patrick reports.
It was a lively atmosphere at the Nest Resource Center in Abuja, venue of the 2025 Community Shield Viewing Party. Football fans, youth stakeholders, and members of the National Assembly gathered to watch Liverpool take on Crystal Palace. The APC youth leader Dayo Israel said beyond the goals and penalties, the focus was a bigger goal, using sports to steer young Nigerians away from restiveness and crime.
You can't separate youth and sport. Youth and sport is very critical. And that's why every government has a Ministry of Youth and Sport, or a Ministry of Youth and a Ministry of Sport. But youth and sport are synonymous, and the goal is that young people can use sport as a means to channel their energy, as a means to be able to build peace, as a means to be able to improve their talent, develop themselves, and also for economic prosperity. And so we understand the importance of sport.
Israel encouraged youth, regardless of political affiliation, to take advantage of facilities at the Youth Hub in the FCT to network, play games, and participate in activities designed to improve their lives and offer an escape from daily struggles.
With our sport viewing center, we're going to be bringing young people together every week to, watch games together, interact, network, use that opportunity to build collaborations, and have engagement around sports and politics, football and politics. We also have a table tennis corner here. We have a snooker corner here. We have some native games like Ludo and all of that. For young people can come in the afternoon with their friends, network, have some drinks and play games together.
Crystal Palace eventually lifted the trophy after defeating Liverpool on penalties, a victory that capped a day of football, fellowship, and a renewed call to make sports a tool for national development. Anita Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
And that is it on Global TV News Prime. Let's take a look at our top stories as we rewrap. On Global TV News Prime, we told you that the federal government has issued a directive to Nigerian Correctional Service to submit a comprehensive status report on juvenile custodial centers across the country within 4 weeks. In business, we told you that the World Bank has approved $300 million in financing for Nigeria to strengthen resilience and expand access to essential services for internally displaced persons and their host communities in northern Nigeria. On the foreign scene, we told you Australia has confirmed that it will formally recognize a Palestinian state at the United Nations General Assembly in September. And that is it on Global TV News Prime. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using the handle @GlobalTVNG. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you very much for watching. Good evening.